Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Greer Klein. I'm still fairly new Samvera Community Manager. I'm in Durham, North Carolina in the States where it is 19 Celsius and spring has started and I've put my garden in. So this is the time of year where I'm lucky, except for allergies. So I'm going to give a short overview of the Samvera community today, and apologies for those of you for whom this will be a review, but maybe there'll be some new information. I'll give just a very basic overview of the Samvera technology in case there are folks who aren't aware of it, and then I'll talk a little bit about some current initiatives that might be of particular interest to you folks. So for those of you who might not know, Samvera is a repository community based on the premise that no single system can provide the full range of repository-based solution for a given institution's needs, and that no single institution can resource the development of a full range of solutions on their own. So working together, the Samvera community creates sustainable solutions and uses a common infrastructure with flexibility to tailor to local demands and local workflows. Samvera started in 2008 as the Hydra project. It came out of discussions between the University of Virginia, the University of Hull, Stanford University, and Fedora Commons. And there was an early recognition that any output from the project would only work sustainably if it could be built and further developed by others as well. So the community has grown. In 2015, the partners in the Hydra project discovered that through the trademark process that Hydra could no longer be used. So that's when the Samvera community became, and Samvera is an Icelandic term that means togetherness. So the Samvera community and its partners has grown from that initial 5 founding partners over a decade ago to a broadly based community of over 60 adopters, and we have over 30 formally committed partner institutions. We have 16 active working and interest groups, and that's the heart of our community work. And anyone is welcome to attend interest groups and interest group meetings anytime. You can ask questions of our product owners and tech leads for the technologies who are all volunteers from partner institutions, and learn a lot there from other adopters. And anyone's welcome to help out in our working groups. The working groups really move the technology and the community forward. We also have a weekly tech call. Anyone is welcome there as well. Our Slack is really active. It's another great place for questions for both developers and for repository managers. And as of October 2020, the community now has a staff member, and that's me. And I'm always available to help you find a way to connect or to contribute in a way that works well for you or for your institution, if that's ever of interest. We have 4 service providers who are also voting partners and an integral part of the Samvera community, and they work with institutions implementing Samvera software locally, and they also offer cloud-hosted instances of our multi-tenant solution pack, Haiku. And we have a number of partners and adopters of Samvera technologies in Europe. I believe some of you are on this list, and that includes 2 service providers, so CoSector and Ubiquity Press. And I believe Chris from the University of Hull spoke yesterday. And Chris manages a Samvera Google group for current potential Samvera adopters in Europe. So if that's of interest, definitely sign up. Samvera is led by a steering group of elected representatives from our partner institutions. 2020 was our first year with a fully elected body. Samvera has gone through some governance model adjustments over the last couple of years. There are 3 seats that are elected annually now, and members serve on a 3-year rotation. This group is soon going to be called the Board of Directors, and that's part of our move to a new fiscal sponsor, which I'll mention again in a little bit. So Samvera partners collectively advance the project in the community, and sustainability and the ability to hire a staff member has been a big focus for the past couple of years. So the community recognized that to be able to maintain a staff member, they needed to ensure ongoing income. So the community launched a series of working groups and identified a contribution model, and that's what you see here, which was approved in 2019. and the partners are expected to contribute at the rates identified starting in 2022. But this past year, we had only 7 partners who couldn't contribute at the required rates, and some even provided more funds to the community than was required in the contribution model. So we feel like so far, so good, and we'll see for 2022 how this model works out for us. And I'll talk just very briefly and at a very high level about the technology in Samvera. So Samvera is designed to provide a rich front-end framework for a Fedora repository and metadata and storage layer. And Solar allows for fast searching and rich content discovery. And Valkyrie allows you to use combinations of PostgreSQL and Disk, Fedora, or Solar for metadata discovery and storage. And next is a set of core components, so Ruby gems, that provide interfaces and interact with Fedora and Solar and have PCDM compliant data models and other commonly needed features like text extraction and derivative generation. And the Hyrax Rails engine provides a fully featured repository front end, has self-deposit and administrative workflow features. And if you're not already a Samvera user, if you're familiar at all with Sophia or curation concerns, a lot of how Hyrax operates will be familiar to you because Hyrax descended really from those two systems. And it's primed to be used with Fedora, Solar, Blacklight, and as a relational database and Rails. And let's see. Oh, didn't realize there was an animation here. Here we go. So your application using Samvera can be very tailored with a really particular solution built with those core components, or it can be a lightweight wrapper on Hyrax, or you can use a solution bundle like Haiku or Avalon. So Avalon is the first solution bundle built by the Samvera community, and its use case is for managing and providing access to large collections of digital audio and video materials. Currently, Avalon is built with Samvera core components, but a future version is going to be built on Hyrax, and we're hoping that some of that work will really kick off this year. The use case for the Haiku solution bundle is multi-tenancy. So it's built on top of Hyrax. It comes with the features of Hyrax, but being multi-tenant, there's a single repository owner that can create multiple Hyrax instances, and it can be deployed in the cloud, and it's being developed now by service providers and by consortia who are interested in offering hosted repositories. So some current initiatives that may be interesting. We have some active grants, and they're really driving the current development of the software. So the University of Oregon and Oregon State University are working on grant for development that addresses, excuse me, a suite of analytics and reporting tools for Hyrax. We have Advancing Haiku, that's a collaborative project to support the growth of open access through institutional repositories, and it's introducing significant structural improvements and features for Haiku, and that's a project of the University of Virginia Library, Ubiquity Press, and the British Library that's funded by Arcadia. And we have 2 consortia representing 94 academic libraries in the US, and they're wrapping up work to pilot a Haiku-based multi-tenant consortial repository that will deliver ultra low-cost hosting. That's really their focus, is making Haiku something that would be low cost enough for small consortia to be able to run for their members. So looking ahead on some things that are going on this year in the community, we have a code of conduct response team being developed. We're working with a consultant. We have a code of conduct for our events, but we realized that we lacked a process for responding to code of conduct violations, and we lacked training in our community. So it's been really interesting to see what we're learning about developing a response process. We have some grant applications in process. So one is really focused on high racks and adding accessibility, adding some additional features, particularly features that would be really valuable for moving Avalon to be based on high racks. So we're hoping that that will go through. And those consortia who are working on Haiku, they've put in a further grant to further develop both the software for consortia and also a model for actually running Haiku as a consortia. We have a fiscal sponsor change. So we're moving from having Lyrasis as a fiscal sponsor to Oasis Open, and that's going to be completed by July. We have 2 virtual conferences. We have one coming up in April, and we also have a Developers Congress the first week in May. There's already some good topics for that Developers Congress. We had one in November. It was incredibly successful for a virtual Dev Congress, and we're really looking forward to what we can do in May. And the community and the steering group are really thinking a lot about if there's other ways to further our income streams, because we don't have, we have volunteer tech leads for each of the technologies, but we don't have a technical coordinator. So while I look after the community, we would really benefit from someone who could also help look after the technology. It's a lot to ask of volunteers to do that kind of management. So that's sort of the next big goal, if you will, on the community side. And finally, I want to end with 2 initiatives that I know will be of interest to Fedora users. So first is that we're very close to completing a full integration of Valkyrie so that it's native to Hyrax. So this work is going to allow Hyrax implementers a lot more flexibility because Valkyrie can talk to Fedora and it can talk to other storage engines as well. And this Hyrax work has become important because I'm working to find testers in the community for the Fedora 6 beta. Initial testing at Princeton indicates that Valkyrie can speak to Fedora 6 without the need for an adapter. So that's a great sign. Makes it easier for Samvera technology adopters to migrate to Fedora 6. But we'd really like to see some more testing if possible, because I can't tell you right now the way that Danny did sort of what the things that break will be. So this would involve swapping Fedora 4 with Fedora 6 and running some tests, and still looking for folks who have capacity for that work. And at this point, I suspect that we may be waiting until the Fedora 6 release rather than the beta, and then learning from there as institutions work to implement Fedora 6. So that's all that I had. Thank you very much. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to answer questions or help connect you with the community. Please do sign up for that Samvera Europe Google group if that's of interest. And we also have a very active Slack channel. I have a link there also to our Samvera wiki. We migrated out of the Lyrasis wiki this year into our own cloud-hosted Confluence. So we have a lot of information and activity there as well.